It's a Superior Works Cinema, where we watch all the movies. This is going to be our 2013 year in review. I'm going to do a top 10. Not really a big fan of top 10 lists, because sometimes it feels like it's hard to differentiate between a 1, a 2, a 3. So, I mean, take the numbering with a grain of salt. All the movies I'm going to show are movies I think were really damn good for this year. So, without further ado, let's start with number 10. Number 10, I'm going to go with Fast and Furious 6. This was released this year. As a note, these are only movies that were released on home video within 2013, because I simply don't have the time to see the 24 movies that come out November, December for Oscars. There's no way I can see most of them because they aren't playing in the area. So these are just home video releases. So if you're wondering why something isn't there, that's probably why. This is a good entry. 6th entry in the series. Again, action is top-notch in these films. They're fun, exciting cars. The actors all have a lot of charisma. I'm not sure if I put this maybe slightly behind Part 5, but it's still a really good, fun movie. They released a lot of different editions. I got the Steel Pack, which I like. Very cool. So that's number 10, Fast and Furious 6. Number 9, I'm going to go with No One Lives. It's I did a full review of this one. Kitamura's latest. It's a cool movie. Also, Luke Evans, who was in Fast and Furious 6. And the Hobbit movie. But this is a cool movie. I think it was heavily overlooked and underrated. It's a blast to watch. The twist is cool. The special effects are fantastic. I mean, this is a highly underrated movie, in my opinion. I think you should check it out if you haven't seen it. Number 8, James Wan's The Conjuring. He was kind of prolific this year. He seemed to get a lot of movies cranked out. The Conjuring is on here rather than Insidious, simply because this, I was surprised. When I watch a horror-type movie, I never have that feeling of being spooked or whatever, or I haven't since I was a kid. This is a genuinely pretty creepy movie. They didn't resort to the jump tactic, the scream, the startle scare. It was just genuinely kind of creepy. I thought this was a great release, a fun movie. Usually the types of movies with the supernatural stuff just go way over me because I don't buy into a lot of it, so it's even kind of hard for me to get into a movie about it. But this is very well done, genuinely spooky and scary. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Great flick. Number 7, Pacific Rim. Del Toro's little dream project here of giant robots smashing giant monsters. And if I say that and you don't want to see it, you need to be checked. Giant robots smashing giant monsters. Again, I don't know what else you can ask for. I mean, it's exactly what it advertised. Any of the shortcomings, who cares? Giant robots punching giant monsters in the face. This is an awesome flick. The special effects are through the roof. The audio on the Blu-ray, fantastic. This is just a fun all-around movie to watch. You'll notice I did not have the 3D version. I don't do 3D unless the movie was natively shot 3D. I just don't see the point. I'm not a big fan of it. Even if it's native 3D, I only watch it one time anyway. So that's why I have the 2D version. But this movie, fantastic. If you didn't see it, check it out. Especially, any Godzilla fans. This is what I'm hoping we get out of next year's Godzilla. Number 6. Very early in the year release, Coscarelli's John Dies at the End. This is based on the novel, and it gets parts of the novel. Again, when you got a 90-minute-ish movie, you're never going to get all of a large novel in there. But as a standalone movie, this is cool. The meat monster sequence alone is just so many memories of the great FX from the 80s. The storyline is cool. I like the characters. I love where they're going with it. It's great to see Coscarelli doing something. He's kind of slow and picky, really. I don't know if it's that he refuses to work in the mainstream, so he only gets certain projects that can get funded, but when he does, I usually like it. Very offbeat film, unique, fun to watch, great acting. I thought it was a cool story. I can see where some of the budget limitations kicked in, especially in the flashback scene where they resorted to doing some pretty storyboarding, but I'm willing to forgive that. So, John dies at the end. Check it out. Number 5, another very early in the year release. Jaume Palermo, or Jaime, or I can't pronounce his name, Spanish director, very famous for doing Rec 1 and 2. This is his new movie, Sleep Tight. It is in Spanish language and subtitled, but this is a creepy-ass movie. I loved it. It was, I mean, it's offbeat enough that you don't necessarily see what's coming. You can expect it, but it's not something you're ever going to see in an American-produced type of feature. The main character was so genuinely just a vile scumbag type guy that it works. If you haven't seen this, definitely check it out. Sleep Tight, fantastic film. The last 4 are really hard to pick. I mean, when you start jumping genres, you know, is a 10 of one genre the same as a 10 of another genre? I don't know. You know, it's hard to say. But, so this is the order I kept them in. 4, the new remake of Maniac. Did a full review on this one also. Awesome movie. I love everything they did. Elijah Wood is just fantastic in this movie. It is a dark, intense film. And the perspective that they gave for the character is just fantastic. Again, if you haven't seen this, definitely see it. It's a great movie. It's a good romantic film. You know, that type of thing. Number 3. Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. I didn't do a full review on this because at some point I wanted to do a Snyder retrospective whenever I get around to that, but that's why I didn't do a full review. I do love Zack Snyder. Think he's a great director. Every movie he's done is great. Even the Owl movie. I mean, it's a PG Owl movie that entertains me, so that just says a lot. This, however, again, I'm a huge comic fan, and Superman I've always loved. I was never one of those people who complained that he was too goody-goody two-shoes, because, I mean, he has to be. Otherwise, you end up with a Supreme, if you've ever read that. And it doesn't work. It's fun for a couple storylines, and then you've got this super powerful godlike being that can just kill anybody anyway, so where's the story? The interesting thing about Superman is that he is a goody-goody, and he has to be. Now, a lot of the complaints were the collateral damage stuff is nonsense. That happens in every movie. I don't know why people pick on it in this movie. The product endorsements, again, no more than every other movie over the past 30 years. I'm guessing there must have been some fairly large publicized review of it that criticized those two things, and that's why people latch onto them. But again, didn't care. Didn't bother me at all. The fight, oh god, I could have done another hour watching the ridiculous fighting, punching through buildings. That's what I want to see when I see Superman. Now, the one complaint is the ending. If you haven't seen it, I'll make sure I don't spoil it, but while I disagree with it happening, I trust Snyder enough to accept it and understand he's going to use that going forward. And again, I think it works. We're in a different era, and I don't know if you could have gotten away with a too goody-goody Superman. If you look at something like the graphic novel that came out, Superman Earth 1, it was, in my opinion, far darker than this. And I read that when it came out and did not like it. I still don't particularly like it, but it was just so bleak for Superman. And sure enough, New York Times bestseller, blew through the roof. So, you know, there is a different audience that is being catered to. This isn't the Super Friends Superman. This isn't that type of character. So you've got to put him in a world that your average teenager can somewhat relate to in their own mind. And this, to me, is by far and away the best interpretation of the Superman character that wasn't animated. Superman the Animated Series was fantastic. Loved him in Justice League, too. But I've never been a fan of the Donner films. They're not bad movies. Just as a Superman, I was never a big fan of that interpretation. He was just so hokey. And the same with the old TV shows and Lois and Clark and Smallville. I never got into those. But this, I mean, I love the character, love the world of Krypton that he set up. Just awesome. Check it out. Number 2. This is kind of a cheat. Django Unchained. Yes, that came out last year, but again, home video release was this year, and I was stoked to watch it again. This is a great movie. You know, Tarantino's, he does a lot of derivative work, but most of it is genuinely an homage to something in the past. You know, even Reservoir Dogs gets a lot of flack for the City on Fire a ripoff part, and yes, that is a really hard ripoff, but again, it's his first movie, and he was borrowing from something that very few people had ever seen at the time. So, you know, this right here is a spaghetti western with some Tarantino-esque flavors in there. I love the acting from everybody. DiCaprio is just amazing as the villain. He's so cool, and I don't know, I've watched this 3 times now. Absolutely awesome movie. I'm sure you've seen it, but check it out if you haven't. So that's our number 2. And the number 1 movie is Michael Bay's Pain and Gain. I actually saw this at the theater this year, which makes it one of the 4 movies I saw at the theater. And I've since watched it 2 more times. So I can safely say this to me is a perfect film. It embodies everything that you want it to be and should be. The cinematography is fantastic all throughout. The shots are beautiful. The acting, man, honestly, I'm surprised that Dwayne Johnson doesn't get more credit for this, because he was awesome. And there's 2 ways you could have gone with this. You could have taken it very serious, and it would have been more like a Stuart Gordon Stuck, a very dark, grim, horrific tale. And you could have done that. Bay chose to go the other way and highlight the absurdity of what was happening, because it is. It's a ridiculous story. And honestly, the gruesomeness, if you research the real story, the gruesomeness of what occurred is very horrible. So if you don't go to an absurd level where you can kind of laugh at these idiots, it would have been a really dark movie. I like what he did. This is my mid-90s Miami. It's colorful. It's bright. Everything is just to pure excess and over the top. That, to me, that's what I remember of the mid-90s, and especially in a setting like Miami. Bay shot this for $24 million, completely indie production. I swear it was shot in 3 weeks, I think they said. I mean, again, you watch this, remember, this is an indie film that they sold for distribution. This was not a major studio production at all. And this shows what he can do with such a small budget, especially when you're comparing to what he normally does. I mean, if you look back, the cheapest movie he ever did was Bad Boys, and that was $50 million in the mid-early 90s. So, not really a low-budget guy. This is a great movie. Maybe it's because I go to the gym a lot, I don't know. But the lines are memorable, the story is compelling. If you haven't seen it, this movie definitely deserves a watch. Even the Bay haters, which I never got that. The guy makes tons of money and makes exactly what he says he's going to make. But even the Bay haters will probably enjoy this movie. It's not your typical Michael Bay flash. It is very well executed excess. So I'm going to give this as my number 1 movie for 2113, simply because I keep wanting to rewatch it. This is the second release of the Blu-ray. The first one was a total shaft because you got nothing. This does have some extras. Again, I would have loved to get some commentary out of it, but it's cool. Definitely check this out. So, now I'm going to talk about my number 1 old movie release. I did a full review of this, and here it is again. The Re-Animator Digibook with the integral cut and everything else. This is the coolest old release for the year. There's some other really good ones. From Scream Factory, the Demons 1 and 2 from Synapse, fantastic releases as well. A lot of good stuff has come out, but this one, maybe it's because I love this movie, and it's such a full... You couldn't ask for more extras than are on this ridiculous release. So, this is my #1 old movie release. I went ahead and said I'm going to do a music Blu-ray release, just one. One I point out. This is the Hammerfall Gates of Valhalla Blu-ray. This is a anniversary show, which features a bucket load of guest stars doing the concert. Shot at a very unique venue, which is deep down in a rock quarry. So, if you're a fan of the band at all and you haven't seen this, check it out. It's good quality Blu-ray, great audio, amazing set list with tons and tons of special guests showing up. So, that's my pick for the music. So, not to end on a low note, but there were two disappointments I had this year. Kiss the Damned and Byzantium. Both of these movies, especially when you look at the trailers, they just... I mean, when I saw the trailers, I was really excited. It was like Jean Rollin movies, you know. Obviously, Byzantium by Neil Jordan, I was going to get a bigger budget, more flashy, Rollin-esque type of film. And Kiss of the Damned looks like a Rollin movie, even when you watch it, kind of. But when I watched both parts, I was like, wow, this is dead on Rollin. And then the movie kept going and lost me. At Kiss of the Damned, just... the characters lost me, and it just... The movie did not have the beauty that a Rollin film has. I mean, if you watch a Rollin film, half the time nobody talks anyway, but they're so pretty that you'd keep going. And that's what I feel Kiss of the Damned was lacking, and the role reversal did not work. You know, you had some guy. Well, he is not Bridget Leahy. It isn't going to work. And with Byzantium, again, I had the problem with the guy. That guy was so... He's the guy that plays Banshee. I never bought the relationship with the girl, so it lost me mid-movie, and it became less about being a beautiful art piece and more about something else. So that's really my biggest disappointments. So that's the 2013 review. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure many of you will disagree or agree or have different orders and everything else, but that is what it is. So look forward to seeing you all through 2014. And have a good new year. See you later.